When you're tired of all the choices out there and you don't know what to do, you can kick back and watch Tall Guy Eric Reviews.
What is going on, guys? Tall Guy Eric back with another review. Today we are reviewing the Samsung G80 OLED monitor. I'm very excited about this one. I feel like it is the first QD OLED monitor that offers something a little different than the other ones. And I'm also going to be comparing it to the MSI, the MAG 32-inch OLED, which has the same panel and basically the same everything as the MPG version of the monitor. However, it doesn't have software updates. But in terms of like the monitor itself, oh no, I didn't mean to launch that game. Well, I just screwed myself on Final Fantasy 16. What a bummer. It won't let me go back now. I wonder if it's too late. Yep. Okay. Well, that sucks. I was in the middle of a boss fight on Final Fantasy 16, so I guess it looks like I'm gonna have to start that over. That's truly tragic. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get right into this. So this is going to be a little bit longer of a video. Just because there's a lot I want to touch base on, and it's been a while since I've done a review. So let's start off with what makes the Samsung a little different than the other QD OLED monitors that are out there. So first and foremost, on the 4K version, which is what I have here, Samsung has opted to make this a smart monitor. You either enjoy that or you don't. I particularly don't care about having smart features on my monitor. I always have my computer hooked up to it, so for me it's whatever. The good news is this is miles ahead better than the software that was on the ultra wide Samsung QD OLED. That was very slow and it ruined the experience for me. This is very fast. I've had no issues with it at all. It's comparable to their very high-end TV software, so they did a great job with that. So you have that. Samsung also has their new AI upscaling built into the monitor. I don't know if I've really noticed it, but apparently it is super noticeable on like lower resolution games. So if you're playing older games or maybe like a Switch game, you would notice it. Let's fire up a game. I was going to do Final Fantasy 16, but now I don't want to load that up because I'm a little sad. So let's load something that is... Let's do Demon Souls. That's perfect. I was going to say something that is not a disc game, and Demon Souls is not. But yeah, so you have the smart features. You also have what to me is most impressive about this monitor. It's going to be hard to portray it in videos, especially because, you know, I don't have the like most high-end setup for capturing things up close. I try to do the best I can, but I'm very new to all this. However, that is Samsung's anti-reflective technology. I don't want to use the term anti-glare because it's so much better than that, and I'm going to get into that in a second. But basically, if you've been familiar with Samsung's new phones, the S23 Ultra, the S24 Ultra, they use the same technology in that phone. And basically what it is, God, I haven't played this game in so long, I forgot how absolutely gorgeous it is. But basically what it is I don't know what they do, but the technology that they use in both this monitor and in their phones completely gets rid of glare. Like, I've never seen a monitor that fights glare as well as this Samsung monitor does. I can have my key lights on, I can have the lights behind me on, I can shine a flashlight on it, and there's nothing. Like, you can barely even see your own reflection no matter how hard you try. They did an incredible job with it, but here's what makes it absolutely insane. So, obviously you get that unbelievably good anti-glare, but you also get almost zero grain from it, and that's what's crazy to me. I recently used the LG, the 32-inch, the GR, whatever it is, their newest OLED monitor, the 4K. And I didn't do a review on that. I wish I would have, but I just ended up returning it. It is what it is. But I thought that that had a good anti-glare coating. Like you had to, you had to be pretty close and you had to kind of go out of your way to look for the anti-glare film in game. Basically, unless it was a full white screen, you really didn't notice it. When I tell you that you have to get like up close and personal on this monitor to see anything, I mean, like you have to have your face up to the monitor looking at a white screen. You don't see it in game, and you don't see it unless you are absolutely trying your hardest to look for it. It is incredible. So like they absolutely killed it with that technology. In terms of visuals, I would say it is on par with every other. I mean, let's get up. It's such a good game to demo too. It's so beautiful, but it is on par with every other QD OLED monitor. The colors are vibrant. The picture quality is incredibly detailed. It's a phenomenal monitor. I've had such a good experience with it. Now, the problem is, if you're familiar with Samsung monitors, that is where the issues with this monitor come into play, and it's always software issues that Samsung never seems to work out when the monitor comes out, and it usually takes a month, a couple months before they iron out all the software kinks. Now, the good news is there's not a ton here. I've ran into two, and one of them may not even be an issue with the monitor. It might have been an issue with my setup, and I'll touch base on that in just a second. But the first, and this one is really annoying to me, there's a bug, and I wouldn't be shocked if Samsung came out and was like, it's not a bug, it's just to prolong the monitor, but that would be very silly of them to say. But basically, if you're playing with the monitor in game mode and you use HDR, every single time anything happens to refresh the monitor, whether that's it goes out of HDR, like if you have auto HDR, so like where it scales the HDR to only work when you're using an actual HDR format. I need to turn the sharpness down on the left monitor. That's what's driving me crazy right now. But basically, anytime anything takes it out of HDR, it automatically toggles off the peak brightness mode, and it's so annoying. You have to toggle it on every time you do anything, whether that's you change inputs, it automatically toggles it, or if you shut anything off. If the monitor turns off, you have to re-enable it. It's very frustrating. I, at the moment, am only playing single-player games. I'm not playing anything competitive. I played a few to test for this video, but in terms of just downright like gaming, I'm not playing anything. So I turned game mode off. Because at the moment, I'm not running this in HDR because I have both this and the MSI next to it in SDR. But in general, like I have HDR running all the time. I toggled game mode off, and I'm okay with it. If I'm being completely honest, I haven't noticed any input difference between game mode and it off. I know there has to be a difference. There's always a difference, but with OLED, it's so fast regardless. I'm not having an issue. I even played some Apex with game mode off, and I still felt like it felt the same. So for me, thankfully, I found that was causing the issue because I saw someone else on Reddit talking about it. I need to keep moving around because the Samsung has really good burn-in prevention. So like if you let it idle for a little while, the screen will go a little dim. Like they did a good job with that too. But I'm glad that I found out that is only in the game mode because someone else on Reddit had the same issue, and I was able to reply and let them know like, hey, it's specific to HDR game mode. If you play in non-game mode, it's not an issue. And I've tested that the past 2 days. Every time I turn the monitor off, every time I do anything, it's still the peak brightness is there. And we'll go ahead and get into the settings. Unfortunately, it is a little awkward trying to look at this. I'm gonna try to turn the camera a little more towards the Samsung so I can zoom in. Perfect. Oh yeah, it's okay. My camera's a little loose, but that's all right. We'll make it work. So there we go. Woo! It is quite loose. I am so sorry, guys. What is causing that? Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm not trying to give you guys an aneurysm. I have a little adapter plate on here, and it's extremely loose. Woo! There we go. All right. Let's get that back on there. Now it's not wanting to go back on because, of course. Okay. I am so sorry about that. All right. So we have your typical settings here. Again, this is non-game mode. Right now I'm running it in SDR with game mode off. I will turn HDR, or actually, so that's the problem. I can't use HDR right now because of how I'm running both monitors at the same time. HDR doesn't work, but I'll touch base on HDR in a second. But you have your typical settings. You can adjust everything. You have your sound mode. You have connections. Again, this is a smart monitor, so you do have the option of setting up like Netflix, Hulu. You can control it with your phone. You can control it with like your other Samsung devices. You can pair it with other Samsung devices. It's very cool. You know, if you're in the Samsung ecosystem, you have a lot of that going. But you can also do basically anything you can do on a smart TV, you can do on this monitor. And then you have your typical power saving settings. You have your panel care, and that's going to be like your adjust logo brightness, your pixel refresh, just standard features. But everything's there. And I'm going to zoom back out, and we're going to turn this back to where both monitors are in focus. So the next thing I want to touch base on is HDR, and that is kind of where this monitor takes it to another level that I haven't seen in a while. So first and foremost, I haven't done a lot of testing in HDR on Windows. I have seen some people are having some issues with that, but the problem is HDR on Windows is never going to be complete. People are always going to have issues with it seems, but like console HDR is it's just a more simple process. Woo! God, I love this game. I haven't played it in a while. I haven't played it since I got the Platinum Trophy on it. But the thing that I love about this monitor with the HDR is, first of all, it's bright. You know, you turn that peak brightness on, you have two different HDR settings, active and static. And if you use active, it is so bright. I use HDR with 45 contrast and 40 brightness, and I feel like it is unbelievably bright. But the other thing is, and this is what won me over with HDR on this monitor, is it's the first monitor in a very long time. It allows you to customize just about everything in HDR settings. Most monitors, you have a few preset options for HDR, and then that's it. You kind of have to go with whatever it looks like there. And for some people, that's fine, because some people, they don't like their monitors to be oversaturated. They don't care about the sharpness in HDR. But for me, when I get a monitor, I want to customize everything, and I want to do that in HDR so I can, you know, feel comfortable using it. Whoo, I got poo-pooed on there. This is what happens when you don't play this game for a while. But when I use HDR, I want to be able to do the same things that I do in SDR. And with this monitor, you can adjust the color temperature, the brightness, the contrast, the sharpness. You can adjust everything. So I run it in HDR. How in the world did I go from almost pure black sultancy to pure white? All right. But it's gorgeous, because like the MSI that I've been using, the monitor to my right, I've been using this since it came out, and I think it's one of the best monitors I've ever used. Oh, I died again. Well, there goes 300,000 souls. Whoops. That's okay. Damn, what new game am I on that I die from one hit? Sheesh. And now I'm back on. Oh, okay, my character tendency is black. Gotcha. I'm not going to go back in there because I'm just trying to, you know, run around while I'm talking. But the HDR experience has been incredible. The best I've ever had on a monitor. It's very comparable to using this. It's very comparable to using HDR on a TV like the LG OLEDs, where it's such a treat. So another thing that's really cool about this monitor, a lot of complaints that people have with QD OLED, and I've complained about it in every QD OLED monitor I've reviewed, is first of all, you know, with the QD OLED, you lose the polarizer, and they're semi-glossy. They look really good, but it comes at the cost of they do better than a glossy finish to block reflections, but they don't do nearly as well as something with a matte screen. The Samsung, this monitor has the best anti-reflection I've ever seen, and you're not losing anything with it. But another thing that's really nice about it is QD OLEDs have a tendency to turn purple when the display is turned off. I'm going to turn both of these displays off in just a second, and I'm hoping it doesn't mess with how I have it running, and if it does, oh well. But I'm hoping it'll capture on video, but you don't notice the purple tint on the Samsung even close to as much as you notice it on something like the MSI because of Samsung's anti-glare. And another perk that comes from that, and this is huge for me. I know a lot of people, especially in the Reddit threads, it's going to be big for them too. But for me, it's massive. With that anti-glare coating also comes the ability to be able to clean your monitor so much easier. I'm talking 100 times easier than the QD OLEDs. And some people, they fight and they're like, if you just follow instructions, these monitors are easy to clean. I've done everything under the sun when it comes to cleaning QD OLED monitors. I've done I'm dead. Man, for one, I suck at this game. Two, don't try to play this game when you're talking and not paying attention, especially on whatever new game I'm on. But I love this game so much. If you haven't played Demon's Souls, do it. As you can see when it loads. I see my internet is being finicky again for like the third time today, but you can see game progress 100% played. Oh, you can't see that, but game progress 100%, played 55 hours. I have the platinum trophy. I love this game so very, very much. It is such a beautiful game to play, especially, you know, if you have a PS5, you have OLED. But back to what I was saying, I've done everything when you try to clean these monitors. I've done a distilled water with a fresh microfiber cloth. I always use a fresh microfiber cloth when I clean my monitors, and it's still, you know, the MSI was pretty hard to clean, and it got scratches. No matter what I did, there are micro scratches all over it, and you can see it in just my normal viewing, which is with these two key lights on. You can see the scratches, and I know a lot of other people have had the same issues. You don't really have that issue on glossy OLEDs. You definitely don't have that issue on the anti-glare OLEDs, and I'm extremely pleased to say that you don't have that issue on the Samsung QD OLED. I've cleaned it a few times. It is so easy to clean. I haven't even had to use any cleaning solution. I use a microfiber cloth and everything just comes right off, but there's no scratches. The smudges that you get on the QD OLEDs, they're not there. Like, it's so easy to clean and keep clean. I love that. You also have the design of the monitor, which I'm a big fan of. I've seen some people say that the silver bezels drives them crazy. It's not the most elegant thing. I wish it were black to match the rest of it, but it's not a big deal. And the bezels are really cleanly looking on this monitor, in my opinion. You have a very small lip on the bottom, and that's there because you have the IR blaster for the remote that's included, which I'm a big fan of. It's a standard Samsung TV remote. It does have, I don't know if, yeah, so that is a solar charger, so it has USB-C and solar to charge it, so that's sick. It's gonna last forever, and then when it does die, I can just charge it with one of my 7 million USB-C chargers. I love that. I really liked having a remote on the old LGs. I was sad when they got rid of it with the new 32-inch, and I'm happy to have it back. Especially because like my phone has an IR blaster built in, and I can use that with this TV, so I don't, you know, if I don't have the remote next to me, I can use my phone. So that's all super awesome. As you can tell from this, I have almost mostly positive things to say about this monitor. I've only run into 2 issues, and one of the issues I'm hoping has gone away. I'm hoping it was an error on my end. I'll know for sure. If the issue persists, I will update in the comment section of this video, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what it is. But basically, anytime I would do anything, even just that, just pressing the home button on the monitor, there was a chance that half the screen would go pixelated. I thought I had narrowed it down to just being in HDR, but that is not the case. I thought I narrowed it down to only being in game mode, and that is also not the case. It did it sporadically in every mode, but I'm hoping that it was the splitter that I was using, because it was an older splitter. It was HDMI 2.1, but I had some issues with it before, so I went and bought a new one today. I got a Philips one. I've always had really good luck with Philips splitters, so we'll know. You know, no issues today. And I bought it early this morning at like 8 a.m. But I'm going to be using this all day and testing it. And I'm going to update you guys in the comment section. But just to kind of recap and go over everything. But I'd like to go ahead and end this video before it hits too long. The monitor itself is amazing. I think it's worth $1,300. That's a little hard to say yes to, especially because like if you can find the MSI, the MAG, or the the MPG is $950 until they end up increasing the price, which they've said they're going to do. The MAG is $900, but for $1,300, you're getting a killer monitor. You're getting a monitor that does support software updates, and you can do them straight through the monitor because it's a smart monitor. So you can literally go into settings, and you can go to all settings. I go down to support. I hit software update. It's on 1001 right now. When it gets the next update, that's all I have to do. I don't have to plug it into my computer. I don't have to worry about anything. So if you're, if you're purely console gaming, you don't even own a computer, you don't have to worry about it. You can update the monitor straight through the settings. I'm hoping they push out a software update soon to fix that HDR issue. And if that weird visual bug was an issue with the monitor, I hope that's fixed. But again, I don't know if that was or not. I'm hoping it's not. And that's the only two issues I've had with this monitor. Everything else has been amazing. PC gaming on it has been incredible. I don't PC game a lot, but when I do reviews, I'll play a few games. I'll test out how it feels input wise. It feels just as fast as any other OLED on the market. I think at this point, it's kind of hard to want to talk about that because all OLEDs they feel so fast that one 240 hertz OLED feels the same as the others. I haven't tested any of the 360 hertz. I did test a 480 mode on the LG, but for me, that just wasn't it. I don't want to play in 1080p. I don't want to spend $1,500 on a monitor to play at 1080p, even though you get that 480 hertz. But for some people, that's worth it. In terms of, this is on the same value level as that LG. I think this will go on sale. Samsung always puts their monitors on sale. When it goes on sales, I absolutely recommend it. I would even recommend this over the LG because this monitor is a little brighter. HDR is definitely better, and you get a better package overall. But that's for me. I don't think that 480 hertz was worth it. Going forward, as long as I don't have any more of the issue with the screen thing, this is going to be my new permanent monitor. The MSI has finally been replaced. I've loved the MSI monitor. I've used it since it came out, and I have had very little bad to say about it, other than HDR not being my thing because you can't customize the way I want to. But with that said, with this Samsung, I feel like you're getting the complete package, and, my issue with it is they're notorious for software issues on their monitors. I'm hoping that they stay on top of it, but time will tell with that. I hope they get the HDR fixed, but if you buy this monitor right now, I don't think you're going to regret it. I'm having a great time on it. I love that I can use it in broad daylight and have no issues, and I love that I'm not losing anything to have that. And I love that the issues that come with QD-OLED are almost solved with this Samsung monitor. The last thing I want to touch base on, because I know people are going to ask, text on PC. I have no issue with it. I think it looks great. I think it looks better than the old QD-OLED technology. I think it looks better than the old OLED technology. For me, using it to read anything, I have no issue whatsoever. So if that's your thing, go into it knowing that for me, I've had a great time reading and using it for productivity. But that's going to be it. I hope you guys like this review. I don't know if I'll be doing monitor review. I mean, I'll continue doing monitor reviews, but there's not anything new coming out that I feel like warrants me wanting to go out of my way to review it. I would still like to try the new Gigabyte. I don't want to try the Asus monitor. I'm kind of done with anything made by Asus from what I've been through with their products and what I've seen from other people. But I would like to try the Gigabyte. So if I can get my hands on that anytime soon, I would absolutely put a review of that out. They're still really hard to get in your hands, but like I said, this monitor's killer, and I think Samsung knocked it out of the park. Hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching.
When you're tired of all the choices out there